Hello guys, Alex Fedotoff here, and today we have very interesting conversation with Simon de Raadt. So Simon is an expert in cross-country logistics. He's also you're based in Shanghai, right?
Yeah, Shanghai, yeah.
He will tell us some very interesting moments and some interesting secrets on how to overcome the Chinese New Year, and also how to overall the process of like, if you guys are drop shipping, after you send the orders to your suppliers, through some of the apps, what's the process is happening after that, and how you can actually simplify it, how you can gain back the time, from your business, simplify your fulfillment, your logistics process, and just be a better entrepreneur, more efficient entrepreneur. So very excited to have you here today, Simon.
Cool. Thank you so much for having you. I see what you do for your community. It's really awesome. So it's always inspiring to hear what you guys are doing.
Thank you, man. And Simon, by the way, you had an interview with CEO of Unisys Press.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. I know his name is Jack Pung. I know him already for several years, just because I was in the logistics prior to joining HyperSku. It was very cool to catch up. And I didn't really, actually, I knew him, but I didn't realize he was the CEO of Unisys Press. And he's amazing. He's such an inspiring guy. He shares so much knowledge about the logistics itself, his developments and their plans. And crazy, actually, if you think about it, because they're trying to compete with players like TNT and UPS and FedEx in the future, because they're coming. They are going to have direct lanes from China directly to any country in Europe, at least. They're going to have overseas warehouses. They're going to have their own local distribution within Europe as well. It's going to be a game changer. And they're kind of a niche player, but I think they might have a chance to actually become a serious global player. Yeah.
Who's funding them? Chinese government?
No, it's not Chinese government. There are several investors behind. And actually, Unisys Press, he's an e-commerce entrepreneur himself. He was running several online stores. And then he realized that the logistics might be an issue that really needs some work. And that's how he kind of started it.
That's how entrepreneurs do it. Like, hey, it's like, this is not fucking done right.
Exactly.
No one does it well. Like, I'll go and fucking fix it.
Exactly. And so it's pretty cool. No, it's not the government, but there's some main investors behind Unisys Press. Actually, similar investors as we have as HyperSku, which definitely helps because the capital is available, the resources are available, the ecosystem is there. And yeah, Unisys Press is a really important partner for us, actually.
Cool. Awesome. So if you can give me some perspective of the company, right? Like the HyperSku, what you guys are doing, like how you help entrepreneurs.
Yeah, HyperSku is a Chinese company. It's 2 years old, a little over 2 years old, and completed an A-round investment. And it's mainly serving dropshippers that are shipping directly from China to anywhere all over the world. And we see there are still some issues that needed help, basically. Because when you come to drop shipping, you have this sourcing, you have the fulfillment, and you have the shipping part, and then the after service. And we see when you work with drop shipping apps, they plug into AliExpress, the service is still not optimal. You still get AliExpress service, just you get a more convenient way to extract the information and to place the orders.
Other apps like that, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And then you have these dropshipping agents, and then there's a lot of manual work that needs to be put into it, where the error rate is quite high. And it's also quite often it's a one-man show. So it's not always future-proof. Then we say, okay, we would like to have a more technology-based solution where the whole chain is integrated. From the moment we source the product, you can follow it, the whole flow, until it's in our warehouse. And when it's shipped out, the tracking information is automatically shared with platforms like Shopify and WooCommerce, so that everything becomes transparent. And then on top of that, we want to have an international team that speaks German, English, French, Spanish, Russian, Chinese, Dutch. And that's something that we also value, because I think, just like we discussed before, everyone wants to build their own brand. If you want to build your own brand, you need to tell your brand story, and to be able to share with someone what it is that you want in your own language. That's actually quite ideal, because that will help the yeah, actually the brand experience to increase a lot. And I think many people are kind of underestimate the complexity of this whole process, this whole back-end operation from sourcing, fulfillment, and shipping. Because I've been doing this already for some time, and there's so many small things that can go wrong. And quite often the dropshipper only sees the end result. That's why we say, okay, we want to just educate people, and especially dropshippers, on what it really takes, how the complexity, to make them more aware that it is not that easy as it looks. It's not, okay, place an order, okay, you receive the order, sticker on it, and gone. It doesn't work. It's not that simple. I wish it was that simple. And that's because I want to break it down. Maybe for your audience, it's good to break down a little bit. Basically, there are 4 steps. You have the sourcing part, you have the fulfillment, you have the shipping, and you have the after service. When I just look at the sourcing itself, you need to find the supplier, you need to find the product, you need to negotiate the price, and you need to check the delivery time. These already is, if you are selling one product, it's manageable. If it's one product, if you were selling and testing a lot of products, you have to communicate with a lot of suppliers. You have to do a lot of research. You need to check the price. You're comparing continuously, all this kind of work that needs to be put into. And then you're still not sure actually if they can supply. They say they can, you pay them, and you see what happens. It's still fingers crossed, basically. There's still a risk to it. And then it goes to a warehouse where it needs to be fulfilled. And quite often, if you on AliExpress, it's not even the warehouse. It's just a middleman who's placing the order somewhere else. And from that location, it will be shipped out. So again, another party is involved that you have to rely on, and fingers crossed. In that case, then the order comes to the warehouse, they receive it, they either repack it if they do anything, put a sticker on it, maybe even consolidate the orders and put it together if you have multiple suppliers, do some inspection, and then ship out. And then for the shipping, there's a lot of options. And you just mentioned Unexpress. Unexpress has more than 30 different shipping options. Quite often someone comes to me, I want to use Unexpress. Okay. Which one?
A lot of people
Unexpress.
don't know this, man. Like,
no. And then that's the tricky part. So, okay, what is the code that Unexpress is using with you? What do you, well, it's not my contract, it's with my agent. Okay, can you check? Because then at least we can offer you the same or even better. That kind of details, that's quite often people don't know. And you have all these different shipping options besides Unexpress. You have CNE and SFC, and you have Yanwen. ePacket, obviously, but there are a lot of different options. And I've been in the postal myself, helping Netherlands Post with their growth in China. So this is more or less my expertise area, the logistics part, the players in China, which is fascinating to see their growth. And then you have the after service, when the personal touch, the communication, the translation apps to be able to get where the hell is my order? Why is it taking so long? That misunderstanding that quite often happens, or when the product is undelivered or broken or the wrong product, that kind of hassle, that's definitely something that already, if you break it down, I think you pinpoint already many small problems that happen when you start placing orders as a dropshipper. And that's what we want to simplify and help overcome from all the other steps. And
you guys have an app on Shopify.
We have an app on Shopify. Actually, yeah, we have an app on Shopify. It's a platform. So basically, the Shopify store, you connect it with our platform. The orders are synced. You can reconnect the products from our database with the order. Then you can click them, which ones you want to fulfill with us. You can check the shipping method. And after it's paid, then we will purchase product from the supplier, bring it to our warehouse. Then we will repack it without any Chinese logos or text on it. So it's really neutral, and then ship it out to the country of where it needs to go.
And you guys have, I'm checking your apps now on Shopify store, and it says that you have this like special HyperSku shipping option.
Yeah, there's several shipping options, and we have different options. Like we call it HyperSku standard and economy and VIP. And there's basically behind that, what's hidden is players like Unexpress. But we didn't want to mention it, Unexpress or any other player. we will make that available during this year, that people can actually say, I just want to do Unexpress, because in some destinations, they're not the best one. We also want to optimize when to use which one, so that it actually matches with the service level we want to provide and what a dropshipper is paying for. Therefore, we could give it a more general name. It's not to fool people. It's just actually for us to make sure that we keep standard. And if we need to switch something in the background, we will try to switch and optimize.
Okay, Simon. Now it's time to, give us like keys to the castle. Like how to handle Chinese New Year. What would you do?
Chinese New Year, it is a challenge. It's a challenge, and every year it's a different time. It's hard to predict. Sometimes early January.
Last year was phenomenal. We had the Chinese New Year, and then like right after, like COVID hit, like it was just.
That was crazy. Last year was crazy. I hope that's not going to repeat itself.
COVID, so like how to handle Chinese New Year.
What we actually advise all our customers is actually to buy some stock, to put some stock. Whether it's little or big, doesn't really matter, but at least to keep your store running. That's the main thing we advise, and put it in our warehouse. We don't charge anything. Just put it in our warehouse in China and ship it out from there. That's something that's the number one. And then we always need to check with the supplier. I mean, we're fulfilling millions of different products, and each supplier, they have different timelines. What you need to do, even if you don't work with us, is to check 3 things with the supplier. One is, when is the last time I can place an order? Not when they close, but when is the last time when they place an order? Then basically, where do they still have some stock available? And when do they start production again? Whether they are closed, when they are closed or when they're open, that's not that relevant, because you want to know, when can I still place an order and when can I start placing an order again? That's the most important part. And for some factories or distributors or wholesalers, the period of time is maybe really only 2 weeks. For some, it's already starting now. And what people don't realize, the Chinese New Year, China is huge. And people are living away from their family. And only once a year, they go back to their hometown. And that's this kind of time of the year. And to book that flight, that train, or that bus, it's not that easy to get a spot, because there are millions, hundreds of millions are traveling. That means people start planning ahead.
There is migration happening during this time, like inside of the
complete
China.
Migration. Yeah, I think it's like 400 or 500 million, like the US, all traveling in 1 month time. It's insane, and that means that people will go away from their workplace, go to their hometown, stay there. And for some factory workers, because we're talking about products that need to be produced, they don't even come back. They just say, screw it, I'm not coming back. I'm going to do something else. And then the factory, they basically have to see and wait who comes back to the factory. Wow. They have no idea who's actually coming back until they physically in the warehouse or in the factory. Wow. That's something that's very important, because that means that the efficiency will not start the moment Chinese New Year is over. They still need to recruit people. They still need to optimize and get the raw material to start the production, and the paperwork and all these kind of stuff, the packaging, all this kind of stuff. That's something that people forget. Is Chinese New Year. It's only 1 week. It's fine. No, it's actually 2 to 4 weeks, and you need to really prepare for that. So that's the second one. Check with the supplier. From an operational point of view on your store, try to reduce your ads, stop testing, because if you start testing, there's no orders to ship out with. There's no supply. And try to just say, okay, I've now selling 5 variants, maybe reduce it to 2, set the other ones at sold out, so that you already reduce the variety of products. It will be easier for you to get started again once everything is up and running. It will be, you have also better negotiation power, because you have the collective of orders and volume.
Yeah.
And the 5th one is inform your customers. And once you know what your suppliers can do, then you can inform your customers either with a banner, like you're not going to say, due to Chinese New Year, there's no supply. You can just say like, due to high success, we're running out of stock, or we just make up something that
marketers typically say, right?
Yeah, exactly. But there's definitely going to be a delay, and
sold out less time in 24 hours. Marketers.
And I see other dropshippers. What they do is actually Q4. They just don't do anything from China anymore. They only fulfill from local warehouses and purchase the stock already bring it into the local warehouse, and then also increase their costs so that they can minimize their profit tax. So actually grab the stock, put it in a local warehouse, and avoid this. And this year, I mean, you've been doing the peak season. This year, December was horrible because last mile delivery itself, even if you have a warehouse, let's say in your home country, the delivery still is not next day delivery.
No, man.
It's already 5 to 7 days. So that's crazy. That's crazy.
Still, you know, there are like delays with like USPS. I mean, it's craziness.
Yeah. So these are the main 5. Get stock, check with your supplier, reduce your ads, put some variants offline, and actually use a banner or something to inform your customers.
That's awesome, man.
You have anything to add? Any strategies or things that you would say like
Yeah, from our side, it's like be like transparent with customers, like notify them about the shipping delays. So for example, guys, and you can comment whenever you are like templates, like share the templates that you can use to lower, kind of like notify customers, lower the, you know, the complaint rate, lower the chargeback ratios, because if customers are not like being notified about the products that are not delivered, then, you know, you're getting pissed, you know. So yeah, guys, just comment templates. We share the templates with you. So we have the series of templates that go out and notify customers. Okay, so the products will not be delivered till this date. You know, approximate like delivery time is this. Here's what to expect, and then also throughout this process, like notify them what's the progress on their order, so they're not left in the dark.
Yeah, you can avoid so much trouble by just informing people in advance, and that expectation management. And that's what causes most of the frustration that we see of our dropshippers as well, is you have no clue sometimes what's going on, what's happening. And that kind of expectation management is crucial just to be able to run your business.
Yeah, definitely. So here in the App Store, it says you guys have like access to like millions of products. Do you have all of those like products in stock, or those need to be like pre-ordered? And
they have to be pre-ordered. We don't keep our own stock, and we're thinking about how we can optimize that. But now once the order is paid, we will purchase. And I think the purchasing time from supplier to our warehouse and then fulfilling the order, that's roughly 2 to 4 days.
Okay.
And then from our warehouse, it's from 7 days to anywhere globally. And I must say, during the peak season, it's definitely not 7 days. It's more, it's then maybe 10 to 15. That's more realistic. But during the normal season, which will be happening after Chinese New Year, then definitely it should be back to 7 to 10. Yeah.
You guys had a good Q4? Like you had a lot of like, you know, orders and stuff?
Yeah, Q4, actually, we did quite well. We keep growing. Every month it keeps growing like 20, 30, 40%. It's insane.
Oh, nice.
So that's, and that's also why it's a scalable concept. Our system is built to scale and also to automate most of the flow, which really, really helps to be able to also get new customers, get them on board quicker, and to be able to, serve them the best possible way.
So what would you say, like, so most, for example, dropshipping agents, right? They don't have this system, right? They don't have the automation, they don't have the technology to handle it. And what would you say, is that the case typically?
It's typically the case. Obviously, you have platforms like Weo and CJ Dropshipping. They're doing similar things as what we do. We tend to believe that our technology is a little bit more sophisticated because we're younger. We've been able to tap into the technology and the industry on a more recent level. So that's definitely a little advantage. And we have some international team that helps with communication. But when it comes to typical dropshipping agent, normally their price might be better, shipping similar. We do have cost of shipping from the supplier to our warehouse. So that's just add a little extra cost that we have to consider. In general, the scalability is limited. They have normally limited access to supply. And also the error rate is higher because it's Excel driven. They're basically using an Excel file to share the information, or they copy paste, and that's kind of risky. And that's why we see that the dropshippers that in the beginning stage, 0 to 10, they can 0 to 10 orders per day, they can manage. Once it goes to serious levels, hundreds of orders a day, it becomes really headache to manage. And you need some kind of system to optimize that, to coordinate all the different suppliers and to have some kind of hands-off approach and not just fully trust the dropshipping agent. And that's something that we see, that the communication and the scalability is limited with an agent.
So you mentioned that in your case, you don't have the scalability limitations?
No, actually we don't. Our warehouses, we have several warehouses, and we can easily scale. We still have a lot of capacity. The warehousing, from that point of view, there's no issue. When it comes to suppliers, we're quite well connected, not just with if somebody wants one piece, but also to actually identify real manufacturers where we can buy bigger batches, where there's actually no limitation. And that's something that's very important, to have that flexibility. When somebody wants one, we're able to get one. If somebody wants 1,000, we can get 1,000 or even more. And obviously it will not be 2 to 4 days, because if you're going to purchase a batch, then it's going to take longer. Or we say, okay, do it phased. Okay, it's 1,000 pieces. Just bring in 200 every day, and then we can just keep things going. These kind of negotiations is that what we take care of with the suppliers and with the factories. And
that's awesome. So what do you see like in terms of trends, right? Like kind of like observing how industry is moving in the last like 2 years. One of the things you mentioned that like Unisys Press is like working on these like very like sophisticated developments and trying to improve the user experience with, with their logistics, with their shipping times. Where do you see, let's say, dropshipping in the next like 5 years? Like this model, this exact, business model.
Dropshipping definitely will still exist, because dropshipping itself is being used by international brands. Right. It's not only just by entrepreneurs like yourself and like myself to be able to do all the dropshipping. When it comes to dropshipping from China, there's definitely going to be several changes. One is AliExpress is going to be more active as well as a player in the market by themselves. I expect that they will be someone doing that.
They'll spend more money on ads themselves?
At some point, yeah. I don't know when, but that's something like I think that makes sense for them, because they're very aggressive also to open warehouses overseas. They have a warehouse in Belgium, in the US, and that means they're going to put stock there maybe for the suppliers. So that's definitely going to be a game changer for a lot of dropshippers, because that means that they need to reposition themselves, or they need to be a reseller of one of these suppliers. That's something that I think that will happen. I see Chinese, as well. Amazon, majority of the sellers on Amazon and eBay are Chinese. On Shopify, that percentage is much lower. Most likely, Chinese sellers will start.
So what you said, like percentage of sellers on Amazon, majority of them are from like Chinese?
Yeah, 40, more than 40% is from China.
Really?
Yeah, so it's huge.
That was so massive. Wow.
Yeah, and so they understand the code on how to run an operation on a marketplace. The difficulty is the advertising, and that's something what Shopify mostly does, right? It is mainly driven by advertising and impulse driven. And that part is still very localized. So that's more difficult to capture and to structure. And then to be able, and I see the trend that more Chinese operators are also going into the Shopify stage, in the Shopify area so there will be more competition for sure. While still the competition with China is still limited. It's still a little bit of a blue ocean for Western entrepreneurs. From a supply chain, I think that Chinese brands want to also get more access to it. They know how to produce a good product. They seriously know, and they have done that OEM for many different companies. And now they want to kind of launch their own brands. So that means that dropshippers can become like affiliates or online sellers to help these Chinese brands to actually promote them and sell them, maybe
or developing like their own brands that must be like differentiated in the marketplace, from all of these more like kind of common products, right? And
then I think the logistics will be optimized. I mean, Cainiao belongs to Alibaba. Their ambition is to deliver globally within 72 hours.
Holy smokes.
And that's going to change things. I'm not sure, they're not there yet. They're not able to get that level. But with that confidence and that investment they're putting in, they're going to pave the way for many others to be able to reach that and make that an industry standard. And within the next 5 years, I think that's definitely going to happen. That delivery globally, cross-border, it can be done 3 to 5 days. will be much more data driven, much more data sharing. And that's also what is going to happen with Europe with the new VAT rules, also data driven. So I think these four will have a main impact on the industry itself. Yeah.
So let's say someone works with like AliExpress, right? Let's say if they compare like the offer or the prices that they get from AliExpress compared to your platform, are you typically like beating the prices of AliExpress, including the shipping? Or are you typically higher price, but you provide faster shipping? Where you are typically in that equation?
In our platform, you can see two prices. One is the product price, and one is the shipping cost. Both include our margin, so we can still play with it. That's why the communication negotiation, it always takes place. When it comes to comparing it with AliExpress, on a product price, we are normally cheaper because we source domestic. And AliExpress is more like a middleman that also still add a margin on top of something else. Product-wise, we normally are cheaper. Shipping, we are more expensive, and that's simply because we don't want to use really e-packet. That means we're using faster delivery than what is offered on AliExpress. And that means that the cost will be higher. So from a shipping point of view, we normally are expensive or more expensive than AliExpress. But if you work with a dropshipping agent who's using Unisys or someone who's familiar with them, then our price will be similar to what they're used to, obviously.
Cool. And you guys, what countries like, so you mentioned, you guys also shipping to European countries?
Yeah, globally, mostly Western countries. So US, I think 40% goes to US, maybe 40 Europe, and then 20% the rest. Obviously, Australia, New Zealand, that's a big. We're not that good on Africa and South America. We kind of avoid these kind of countries and Middle East, those kind of, simply because we want to make sure that the delivery happens within 2 weeks. And we just simply cannot guarantee that to these destinations. And it just causes so much trouble and headache that we just say, we don't want to get into that. We don't advise it. If you want to do it, it's up to you, but then not via us.
So if people wanted to get a quote, right? Let's say maybe they're selling some product that they're like doing, let's say 50, 100 orders per day, or you have any minimum order quantity?
No, we don't.
No, okay. So let's say even people who are starting out, but like potential over time might become like a big sell, so they can use your platform.
Exactly. Yeah.
All right. So that's awesome. So where do people start? Like, do people just go to the app or install the app and just like start browsing the products or request the product, or how does it work typically?
Yeah, normally that's how it goes. They go to our website or go to the app. They open the chat. They start mentioning, hey, in this case, maybe they watch this video. They say, I watched the video, and they do a shout out and just say, we're looking for this product. And that's the way that they submit a link, a picture or a product link. And most of the time that link is AliExpress. We need this kind of link. It doesn't matter where the link is coming from, honestly, just to be able to verify the product information, because simply a picture is not enough for us. There are too many variants. It's very hard to identify what it exactly is. And the more specific you are, the better for us, the faster we can source. That's why the chat is more better than just submitting a link, because then one link can have so many different options. That means we will have to upload all these options on their account. What normally happens, they submit a link either in the chat or they can submit it in our platform. They share their account name with us. Normally, I will add some kind of discount for them. So they just say, hey, welcome. You can just get some trial or orders with us. They connect the store. The orders are coming in. We connect the order to our database, and then they can start placing the order and we get started.
Okay, so what's the timeline typically for that?
Sourcing for products is normally around 2 working days that we have feedback. If there's someone with an order behind, so then it's normally within 24 hours. And if you are every seller, every dropshipper that's using our platform, they have an account manager that they are in touch with on Skype or in WhatsApp. If it doesn't go fast enough, they say, okay, I've submit this link, can you check and get it done? And then it's done within a few hours. Nice.
Do you have any, like, so for example, if people do like bigger volume, are there any like discounts, like if they do like bigger order balls and stuff?
Of course. Of course, we do have several levels depending on the order quantity per day. But most importantly, if somebody's quantities go up, our purchasing price also goes down. We can purchase cheaper. We want to create a win-win. doesn't mean that when they start to buy more, that our margin gets more. We also understand that our price goes down, so we also need to give some discount on the product level. At the shipping, there's a limitation on how low we can go, but with the product, there's always a room for negotiation with suppliers. Yeah.
Mhm.
And when you know too, everything is available in China, depending how much you want to pay. And the quality is definitely, once the cheap price goes lower, sometimes quality goes down as well. So we have to be very careful about when somebody says, I can buy this on AliExpress, and are we really comparing apples with oranges? And if we're not sure about the quality or about the size, we normally order one or two and send to our office and just verify where the quality is. Yeah, it's okay.
Do you guys do like branded packaging if necessary?
Yeah, we do. And there are normally 4 ways to do that. One is just a simple way, thank you cards. The second one is to do some shipping packaging, maybe a bag with your logo on it, so that at least it looks like it's from your company. Third one is product packaging, and fourth one is to put a logo on the product itself. For each one, there's normally some MOQ. It really depends on the supplier. There will be some extra cost, but yeah, there's always a negotiation on what's possible. It's not fixed, and that customization. That's also why this communication is so important, because takes a lot of effort and time. For a beginner, we don't recommend. We just recommend use a thank you card, because you're not sure whether the product is going to scale, and to spend a lot of time on product packaging and purchasing things customized, that will not be very suitable. Only if you have maybe done 1,000 products, you can consider this kind of customization of packaging.
You mean 1,000 orders, probably?
Yeah, in total. Yeah, like in total. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Cool.
But it's up to the dropshipper, up to the customer for us. If they want us to start with branded packaging, fine. We just don't do the design. The design needs to be provided to us, and then we facilitate everything with the suppliers. That's our role. We facilitate things.
Awesome. Cool. What would be your kind of like, because you see a lot of like, drop shippers, like some of them, successful, some of them are not. And what would be your main kind of like 3 pieces of advice to, to people who want to be successful in this business?
Yeah. One of the main costs for dropshipper is advertising. So they need to follow your courses or someone else just to be able to, because that's the majority of the cost. And especially for Shopify, that's what's driving the traffic. If you do that, if you have that under control, then you actually have a good chance to succeed. That's something that is important. We also are starting to get more familiar with TikTok ourselves, because we want to advise our customers as well on how to optimize TikTok or other social media channels to be able to do that. That's very important. The second one is to really do the homework actually, and to do the trial and error of products. Quite often someone says, I think, because a lot of the product selection is based on emotion.
Oh yeah,
it's not based on any facts.
Yeah, I used to do this as well. Yeah,
and it's not proven, but you're going all in on that product, and you're not even sure if that's going to work. So doing that trial and error and being available, realizing that maybe I was wrong, I need to do something else. I think that second is very important. And that's why we also never say no to beginners or to other people to try new products, because in the end, both parties really don't know if it's going to be successful. We all hope it's going to be successful, but suddenly there can be an unexpected product that becomes a winner. And that's something so the trial and error, that's something that's very important. And the third one is always negotiate. Also with us, I mean, there's always room for negotiation. That's always, I should not say that maybe from our point of view, but it's just an advice for everyone to be able to be aware and not be afraid. This is your business. You're protecting your own business, your own margins. It's really important to,
even few percent, right? Like that's kind of just goes to the profit,
Exactly. And that means also to be able to negotiate, you need to know what other prices are being used by other suppliers, so that you can actually compare. Don't use just us. I would not say just you only use us or any supplier. You need to spread your risk. You need to have multiple options to purchase. It's convenient to have only one, definitely, and you can do the main things with one provider, but you need a backup. because sometimes they run out of supply or they don't have the right variant. You need to have some kind of flexibility. And any global company is doing that as well. No global company is relying on one supplier. So we need to replicate a little bit on a smaller scale what global players are doing.
Awesome, Simon. So tremendously valuable call. A lot of great insights. So guys, I'll have a link. There should be a link to HyperSku so you guys can check it out and see, just compare the quotes, right? Like, I mean, as a starting point, see if you can get any like better price. And then, take the advice that Simon provided for the, for the Chinese New Year. Make sure that, you're not driving yourself into the ground, like during that period of time. If necessary, downscale. And Simon, thank you for jumping. I know it's early morning for you. It's like 7 a.m. Thank you for making the time for this. And
of course.
Thank you everyone who listened.
Cool. Thanks a lot, Alex.
Yep. Thank you guys. And I'll have a link so you guys can check out the platform. I'll probably also link to Simon's profile if you want to connect with him, and you guys take it from there. Thank you everyone. Thank you, Simon.
Cool. See you.
Hey, thank you so much for watching this video. If you can just like this video and hit the subscribe button so you don't miss any of my videos in the future. Thank you.